guys want to go to the woman's cave and it's mine. Okay. I want to say that allegedly. Like I'm
gonna sit here and be sad for a moment. How old are you to be acting like 3?
I'm 5. I'm 5.
You're 5?
Yeah.
I'm
a big 5.
I think they need to times that by 10.
Oh no.
Anyway. 11, so I can get senior discount on coffee.
Okay, yeah, I can go with some.
Ooh, what happened? What happened to me?
What?
Something happened. I'm okay.
Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. I guess scared. People were like, wait, I can still see you. What's happening? Oh, okay. Oh. I'm Jay.
And I'm Winona. Thank you.
High five. And you said that you want to say on camera, what?
No.
Let me look at you.
No. You say I'm 55. No. I said that you look cute.
Oh, yes. I look gorgeous today, you guys. I have on my blue lipstick. I'm feeling better. My bronchitis is getting better, so I felt like actually putting on makeup. Yay!
Yeah, so that's the reason why I went ahead and took that whole Welcome to the Women's Cave. Anyway, we have books.
Yeah, we do.
We have a short amount of books, girl. We have like none of the books that we write.
This is very amazing because I think people are buying them, so I thank you for your money.
You think. We sold it in person, so we know they're bought.
And I thank you for your money. And like, just my blue lipstick. I really appreciate it.
Cheesy green.
Okay, so we wrote the End I Thought series, and I Thought Divorce Was Bad, which is also an audiobook, so we never say that. Like, please check it out on Audible. Like, Joe Sands did a great job reading out poetry, which kind of is sad, right? Write poetry. And I thought being grown up was easy. And I thought I could juggle it all, and I thought he was the one, and didn't. And I thought we just have a lot of And I Thought books. Y'all just check that out. And then we have the Misfit Guys, Cocktail Suarez and the LBD, and a Sassy Sway that leaves crooked footprints. And we will be writing another one, but you guys know how that goes. We say it all the time, and then like December, December it'll finally come out. Although we've been promising it since like May, so you know how that goes.
No, it's halfway done.
Oh, well, Nona's actually doing her job in writing. I'm excited.
Anyway, and it's In I Thought the workbook. I'm moving this along, and then we have the 25 hottest indie authors.
You guys check it out digitally. It is like so many good people in this thing. It is only $4.50 digitally, but you can also buy it a print copy, which is way more expensive.
$35. Oh, wait. And guess what? In July, we'll be on her television show.
Chrissy B! Yay! In England. So you guys check everything that we're doing on andwethought.com. But you guys aren't here to hear about us ramble about maybe a little success we're having or just banter with each other. You're here to hear about our wonderful guests. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh my gosh, I love how hyper you are because I'm glad I'm not alone in this world. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Amy Bradio, and I feel like we're soul sisters already because I can't ever stay on track either. Not that I'm not insulting you. Just know that.
Oh no, it's okay. We know.
Where to begin? I know we were talking about charity today, correct? Is that it?
You can begin where you want to.
Girls, I don't even know. I have to have some breakfast yet, so I'm kind of all over.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's very exciting. You know what? I will jump right in. I was just sharing with the ladies before we went live or whatever about how I know God's hand is all over me. And I'm not here to preach to everybody, but that's my thing. A lot of exciting things are happening. Backtracking, I founded a foundation, a nonprofit about 10 years ago called the Echo Foundation. And that story kind of happened because my husband and I had adopted one of our sons from Ethiopia. Now, I had wanted to adopt an older boy from Ethiopia since I was 8 years old. That's how I know it was a God thing. And so we just kind of were somewhere, and I was like, did I ever tell you I wanted to adopt? And this is like 12 years and 3 kids into marriage, and he was like, what? And he was on board, and we did it, and that was back in 2007. And our son, Ish, was almost 11 at the time that we had adopted him. I'm going to kill my dogs. Really? You're going to bark now? They're like 2-year-olds. And so the foundation wore many hats, but for the last few years, been primarily working, focusing on orphan care in Ethiopia at the orphanage where my son was raised. We actually adopted in our hearts because legally we couldn't adopt him because he was so old, but I have another son who is now 32 in Ethiopia. So been really focusing on caring for the orphanages where my boys grew up. So I have 2 adopted sons and 3 biological children. And that's been busy and crazy. They're all college age and older now, so that's always exciting. And they keep coming back. As much as I love to help children, it's like they can go out on their own. I'm really proud of their independence. So we'll see how that goes. But I've had the opportunity in the last 6 months to be in Ethiopia twice. Just recently got back March 16th from spending a month there. And I'll tell you, so many doors have opened that I'll actually be in Washington, D.C. next week, meeting the new Ethiopian ambassador to the U.S. And from what I hear, the Prime Minister now knows about the organization as well. Both the Prime Minister and the ambassador have adopted children from the same orphanage. So this is starting to be a very cool relationship, and praying the funds come in. Like, I pray the funds come in for your books, and it's been an interesting journey, to say the least.
Wow. So first and foremost, I knew I loved her. Like, I was following her on Facebook, and I was, oh, this charity is amazing. She has to come on. I was like, well, no, we're gonna make this happen.
So, at 8 years old, you decided you wanted to adopt? What hit you? I mean, I'm not going to say like you can't figure out your thing at 8 years old. What on earth?
Oh, well, I didn't really.
Excuse me.
What? It's okay. It's Friday. I was one of those situations where, back in the day, you could be home alone at 8 years old, and my parents were working, and I was, running past the TV that clearly I wasn't going to turn off, even though I was going outside. And it probably was like a Sally Struthers infomercial, but it was the early 80s when the drought and famine were just really wiping out Ethiopia. And I just stopped dead in my tracks staring at this. And please know, the babies and those mamas and all that was very upsetting to me, but there was just something about all these big kids in the background. And at the time, or what my memory is that nobody was talking about those older children. And, my parents had a rough go when I was younger. My mom's been married a couple times. Like, my mom and I have lived in a car for 3 weeks. I went into foster care for about a little under a year when I was little, just so my mom could get herself together. And fortunately, it was foster care with family, but still, I think I just always had an empathetic heart for kids that were missing a parent or alone or something. You want to talk daddy issues? I could write you a whole book about daddy issues. So
feel free.
That's a whole nother episode. But again, thank God for Jesus, because I don't know, but just that shocked me, and I remember just I'm gonna kill you. Just sobbing as a little girl about these kids, and I remember clearly coming, when my mom came home from work that day, I was like, I'm going to go there someday and adopt a big boy. And she was like, whatever, aim, good job. So the fact that actually kind of came to be is a miracle in itself. I can't believe I never told my husband about it, until way later in our marriage. So yeah, it was just always in me, and the stars aligned, or whatever you want to call it. And it happened. And, Ish is 22 now. He's in school for mechanical engineering, and, I can't remember what family was like without him here with us. So
I think 8 years old is a time to really decide what you're going to be. I was 8 when I decided I was going to be a sign language interpreter. So 8 is a good age. I like 8.
Did you do it?
Oh, I decided at 8 that I was going to be a sign language interpreter.
And you did it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, 8 must be the year.
Yeah, I'm retired. Now, I'm retired now. I'm retired. I write books now, but I do.
I messed that up.
Yeah,
I relaxed now.
It's early.
No, I am
it's
relaxing.
Early.
Okay.
It's early or late.
Moving on. Sorry.
It's okay. I love it.
I was going to say I was 4 when I decided. So y'all were a little late to the party.
Oh.
Anyway, moving on and trying not to make a joke anymore. Because they're not.
No, my mom did drugs. That could have been why I was late. Sorry, Mom.
Oh. So, okay.
How did you do it with 5 children and start a nonprofit?
So Abadir, who is the 5th and actually oldest child, has actually never been to the States yet. We fell in love with him when we picked up Ishmael. So we helped him finish college. He got his master's. I'm like, I don't even have my master's, so good luck. And he has either worked for our adoption agency, for UNICEF, and he now works for me. my husband and I started the nonprofit here with the 4 of them, but we messed up the birth order of our biological children and everything. I paired up Ishmael and my daughter Kara are in the same grade, so they were like my Irish twins. I don't know how we did it. Actually, we just did it. Day by day. There was a language barrier. My one son was used to being the only boy, so if you've got boys, you know how boys love their mamas, and again, like it just. My kids are so close. And, unfortunately, my husband and I just recently divorced. And the only thing there's a lot of different things that came out of it, but like my kids are all close and they're getting each other through it, even as adults that are experiencing that. So again, I'm grateful they're all tight.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm,
I feel like I should revisit it, and I thought divorce was bad, and actually throw a few poems in there.
When you held that up, I'm like, I'm going to read that. So.
Oh, it's sad. It's so sad.
That's what everyone tells me.
I wanted to ask real quick, just to jump off the subject. What did you do particularly? Because I know we have the charity thing, and then you have the family, and I know you had to have a job. So let's throw that in the mix. Show how really were.
So aside from the charity, when I graduated from college, we started our family right away. So I actually have a degree in graphic design that I've never actually used per se, but that's okay. I have it. About 10 years ago, I went from being kind of a very lazy, always kind of chunky person to getting into bodybuilding. I was going through some stuff, and that became my outlet versus the day drinking. 2009 was a really rough year, but I have really good stories. I'll have to give them to another pen name to write about. But I got really into fitness and competing and all this stuff. And so I ended up working with a great health and wellness company and kind of doing a lot of independent direct sales kind of stuff. That has worked out very well for my life and my family. I began really evaluating some decisions and thought patterns of myself. So I learned a lot about becoming a coach. And I know that word is really overused and there's a lot of coaches out there, but what I realized through my fitness journey is that there's a lot of people out there that have eating disorders. And myself, I had hid one my entire life. And I actually just came to peace with that about 18 months ago. And I'm trying to just get into a balance between being a fanatic and being healthy and loving myself. So, the coaching and doing online diets and training for people and the nonprofit and the network marketing has been keeping me pretty busy, for the last probably solid 5 years. Because I wasn't busy enough, I actually had been waitressing because I needed to get out of the house. Like I'm on the phone all day and talking, but I'm talking to the walls. So, but I have just recently pulled away from that because I need to be traveling more for the nonprofit. So I'm really laying it all in God's hands, guys, about, money coming in. Now I'm a single woman and fully relying on God and myself to bring in my income. So here we go. Let the roller coaster begin.
Well, don't forget you have those kids that you can be like. No, I'm joking.
No.
Yes, I have one graduating college in December. My daughter's graduating from University of Kentucky May 3rd with a for nursing.
Yay!
Ishmael's got about one more year, and then my youngest just moved back home from her 10-month adventure in Montana. She's 18, so she's kind of just getting her journey straight. And I'm like, take your time, take your time. So
this Montana is absolutely fun. I like Montana. It is fun.
Actually,
beautiful.
My mom who passed away used to love. That was her favorite state. Every time we went to Montana, she'd be like, "Look at what God has done."
Seriously, I'm kind of sad. I want to go visit, and now she's not there. She's here.
Oh, just go! Oh my goodness,
just go!
It's
so good.
It's long. 13 hours long.
But long but enjoy it. It's so
takes
fun.
Me 23 hours if I'm going to drive there.
Oh,
so
wait, where are you?
I'm in Chicago.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So listen, offline we have to talk because I love your city. I love to eat everything there when I
come. Stay in my house. What's that?
I hate it in the winter and spring, but I love it in summer.
In summer.
Yes. You are welcome anytime. You've got a place to stay.
Thank you. Also, where can people check you out? Because it's the last question. We're at the end of our interview. So where can people check you out and what's next?
Okay, so right now, I would say the best place to find me is either LinkedIn or Facebook. LinkedIn is boring. It's Amy Brado. Amy Spitfire Bradio on Facebook. I'm in the process of 2 new websites. The one for the foundation is live. It is just echofoundationinc.org. Spitfirecoaching.com is under construction because amybrado.com is still kind of controlling everything, and it's not really easy to navigate, but you'll get the idea if you go there.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so very much. Jade,
thank you for coming on.
And I have an announcement because I can't keep it to myself. So Jade, go ahead.
No, you can't announce it. It's not done yet.
I can't announce it.
You can't announce
it.
it.
Well, now you said it. Now you have to.
Okay, so you guys, you can always check out what your ladies are doing on www.andwethought.com. Go to the ladies page, go to the middle of the page, and check out the nonprofits that we support. And Winona, your kind of sort of announcement, what?
Oh, we have the possibility of being in a feature film.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how it works out. We're working on the details, but we'll let you guys know. You know how we're going to say, we'll let you know. And then like 10 months later when it's done, we'll be like, oh, by the way, we forgot. I'll let you know how it's working out. But remember that wisdom is all around you if
you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona
and Jade. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.